Hallo, zukünftige Deutsche und Deutscherinnen. Wie geht's heute? Ich spreche auf English. Last lesson we covered in deiner Stadt. During the course of that lesson we learned about how to ask what there is and what one can do in each other's cities. Today we will be applying some of that knowledge and learning to ask people that if they are old enough to do some of these things. Doch zuerst eine kleine Zusammenfassung. Hier sind Heidi und Hans. Please read out the conversation, filling in the gaps where necessary. Pause the video and have a go. Okay, here's what you should have got. You didn't get to choose any of the answers here. There were fixed answers. Also, Heidi. Hallo Hans. Hans. Hallo Heidi. Heidi. Gibt es ein Kino in deiner Stadt? Hans. Ja, es gibt ein Kino. Heidi. Also man kann sich einen Film ansehen? Hans. Ja, ich muss gehen. Heidi. Okay, tschüss. Hans, bis bald. Bis bald means see you soon. I would have put tschüss, but I didn't want it to reveal it to you. So you had to remember what tschüss was. Anyway. Ersetzt, replaced. Heidi and Hans just finished their conversation and want to wait until next lesson to be heard again. But we have cover-up, don't worry. Here are Donald and Melania to help you recap your wo wohnst du. Have a go at completing their conversation. Pause the video and do that. Okay, here is what you should have got. Once again, there's no flexibility in these answers. You have to get these specific things. So, Donald T. Hallo Melania. Melania. Ich bin Slowenin. Donald T. Wo wohnst du? Melania. Ich wohne in Amerika. Donald T. Ja, das ist richtig. Melania. Auf Wiedersehen. Donald T. Lassen Sie mich, that should be Sie, not zu. Lassen Sie mich ganz schnell auf Twitter gehen. Let me go on Twitter real quick. Also. Oh no, I lost the verbs again. Please conjugate the verb können for me. Pause the video and do this on a piece of paper or book. Okay, here's what you should have got. So the infinitive, which was already covered, is können, to be able, or to can, but that doesn't really sound right. The first person singular, I can, ich kann. The second person singular, you can, is du kannst. The third person singular, which is he, she, it can, is sie, es kann. The first person plural, which is we can, is wir können. The second person plural, which is you plural can, remember we don't vary this in English, we do in German, is ihr könnt. The third person plural, which is they can, is sie können. And the past, which is I have been able to, or I was able to, is ich habe gekonnt. Not ich habe gekönnt, ich habe gekonnt. No umlaut. Also, bist du alt genug? So, are you old enough? Los geht's. Bist du alt genug means, are you old enough? So here are 4 things that you can only do when you reach a certain age. Bist du alt genug, in Rente zu gehen? Bist du alt genug, in Rente zu gehen? That means, are you old enough to retire? Bist du alt genug, in Rente zu gehen? The next one. Bist du alt genug, in einen Nachtclub gehen? Bist du alt genug, in einen Nachtclub gehen? Are you old enough to go to a nightclub? You have to be 18, I think, to do that. Bist du alt genug, in einen Nachtclub gehen? Next one. Bist du alt genug, an der Lotterie teilzunehmen? Bist du alt genug, an der Lotterie teilzunehmen? Are you old enough to enter the lottery? Bist du alt genug zum Heiraten? Bist du alt genug zum Heiraten? Are you old enough to marry? Ja, ich bin alt genug, das zu tun. Yes, I am old enough to do that. Hier gibt es eine neue Frage. Wie alt bist du? How old are you? Ich bin 2 Jahre alt. I am 2 years old. Ich bin 60 Jahre alt. I am 60 years old. Ich bin 100 Jahre alt. I am 100 years old, etc. Have a go at practicing saying how old you are to your screen, and then we'll move on. Sein means to be. The infinitive to be is sein. Now, sein is an irregular verb, so for the most part, the different verbs of the form have nothing to do with the infinitive, which is a bit confusing, but given it's so important, I think it deserves the time of day. So, first person singular, I am, ich bin. The second person singular, which is you are, is du bist. The third person singular, which is he, she, it is, sie, es ist. The first person plural, which is we are, is wir sind. The second person plural, which is you plural are, remember we don't vary this in English, we do in German, is ihr seid. Once again, the ihr, the second person plural, gets its own form of the verb. It doesn't have to share it with the third person singular. The third person plural, which is they are, is sie sind. And then the past, which we learnt last time, and this means I have, you could say wir haben, and it really doesn't matter, just so you know, it doesn't change. So say last time we learnt that I have counted as ich habe gezählt. If you want to say we have counted, you would just go wir haben gezählt. We will do haben soon. So this time it's ich habe gewesen. Ich habe gewesen. Now you can also say ich war, I was. However, there are different forms of war, just like there are forms of this verb. So I think war deserves to be treated as its own verb. Sort of, with most to all verbs, you can, rather than doing ich habe gewesen, ich habe gezahlt, ich habe gewohnt, ich habe geheißen, you can say something like ich war, ich wohnte, and things, but you end up having to have your own form. So I personally prefer to just go ich habe gewohnt, ich habe gewesen, simply because it's much easier and you don't have to change the form. Anyway, üben wir den Gebrauch von sein. Let's practice using sein. Fill out the following sentences on a piece of paper or your book. I want the last one to be past tense, please. So, here is what you should have got. So the first one, ich bin, if you remember, it was ich bin 6 Jahre alt. I am 6 years old. Ich bin 6 Jahre alt. Then the next one says, you are 14 years old. Du bist 14 Jahre alt. Because if you remember, the you was du bist. Du bist 14 Jahre alt. And now we have the third person singular, which is he is, ist 19 Jahre alt. So the important part there is ist. Ist 19 Jahre alt. Now we have the first person plural, wir sind, we are, 20 Jahre alt, because if you remember, the wir was wir sind. And then ihr seid 26 Jahre alt, you plural, which we don't vary in English, are 26 years old. Very, very specific there. But there are some scenarios where you would say ihr seid 26 Jahre alt, if you were talking to a group of 26-year-olds. Sie sind 44 Jahre alt. They are 44 years old. Also, remember, the sie sind. Sie sind. With the wir and sie, you just have to remember one form, really, because they're pretty much always the same. And then finally, ich habe 5 Jahre alt gewesen. I was 5 years old. So we've got a little plot line going on there. First they say ich bin 6 Jahre alt, and then they say ich habe 5 Jahre alt gewesen. I am 6 years old. I was 5 years old. Thank you for watching. I hope that you have learnt something and have a nice day. Auf Wiedersehen.